true. That's a good point.
Hey, everybody in Facebook land. How are you today? Happy
Yay!
MLK Day if you're tuned in live. And we are getting ready to record Wednesday and Friday show. Wednesday, of course, Listener Questions. Friday, we're going to get the Chef Todd, 55, in here to talk about Festival of the Arts, where he was last weekend, and the trip to Give Kids the World.
Yep.
So lots to talk about today. Remember, if you have any questions, put them in the comments here on Facebook. And we'll get to those along with the inbox. And we hope everybody's having a great start to your week and you're staying warm, unless you're in Florida.
Oh my gosh, it's so cold here.
It's freezing here too.
It's freezing here.
It's cold.
Dislike.
Yeah, for real.
We went and looked at houses yesterday. How about that?
Wow.
In the cold.
Oh,
yeah, that's dedication there, man.
That's no bueno right there. No.
What, Scotty Boy in the chat? What's up, Scotty Boy?
Scott.
I bet you it's cold up in the mitten. All right, let's do this. Here we go. Dun, dun, 1437. Welcome to episode 1437 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. That's right. We're all three back. We're going to have a good time today answering your listener questions. So glad that you're here to join us for today's podcast. So joining me today, we have Ricky from a DisneyWorldAfterAll.com, TouringPlans.com, and the Mouse for Less. What's going on, Ricky?
Please turn the heat back on. Thank you.
It is cold. It's like there's snow on the ground outside, so I can't run out. I haven't run outside since before I went down for marathon. Ooh. But I mean, even if it was clear, it's so cold. I don't even know if I get out there with my tights on, man. It is cold.
I mean, here in Atlanta, it's cold. So, I mean, it's cold when it's cold in Atlanta.
Well, all right. I know where else it's cold. Probably Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
she never complains about the weather up in the East State. Pam Forrest, owner of the Magic for Less Travel. Are you staying warm enough, Pam?
No, it is so cold here. Just really, really cold. What can you say? This is the time of year when I start, I don't know, seriously, like looking at flights every day, trying to think when I'm going to get out of here. Start having unreasonable, like, why do we live here? I never wanted to live here. It's bad. It's bad. So anyways, what can I do? Here we are.
You can move. That's what everybody dreams, especially this time of year. I'm moving to Florida.
I know, right?
It's going to happen someday. All right. So just shout out to everybody watching live on Facebook. Remember, we can do that on Monday evenings, usually around 5:30 Eastern or so. We get kicked off. Shout out to Kristen, who is on the boat from French Quarter to Disney Springs right now, tuning in on her mobile device. Jealous of you.
Right.
Have fun. And then let me see. Anthony is drinking a PB&J milkshake from the 50s Primetime Cafe right now.
Wow. That's, there's nothing bad about that.
No.
Yeah. And Maryland says that it's minus 22 freaking degrees Celsius. I have no idea how cold that is, but because I'm American, I don't care. Negative 22 in any kind of degrees.
It's not good. Not good. No.
It's definitely not warm. So anyway. All right. Let's get to the first question. It's coming from the inbox. It's from Amy. She says, hey, BOGP crew. First, Mike. Congrats on Dopey. Inspired me to do it someday. Ricky. So jealous of you seeing Justin Timberlake.
It was amazing.
Yeah, here's Pam's. I just love the way you describe your food recaps on the show lately. They make me hungry.
Nice.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, Ricky got the best shout out. She says,
yes, I did.
She said, my husband just found out he's doing a conference at Yacht and Beach Club February 4th through the 7th next month. I was lucky enough to get time off work to tag along for the first time for the Festival of the Arts. I love his job. We'll be staying at Port Orleans Riverside, Mike's favorite resort, right? It is a nice one. I want to add some lizard fun to my stay while he is in conferences, and I'm hoping you can help. I heard they have fun resort runs, and the one at Riverside involves a medal and beignets at the end. Is that right? Do you know when and how I can get in on the fun? Thanks so much for the great show. Amy is down in Cape Coral, Florida from the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. All right, so you know what? When I was down there for Marathon Weekend and we kind of got around for I just like visiting resorts. So we went over to Beach Club and we had beaches and cream one afternoon. We went to Olivia's over at Old Key West. We tend to eat at the resorts. Went to Coronado and had Maya Grill while we were down there. We ate well, now that I think about it. But what I'm noticing is that most of the Walt Disney World resorts now have these special runs, usually once a week. It's usually like a 5K run. I think the Polynesians is actually less than 5K. I think it's like a 1 mile run. I know Scott and his family did that back in the fall time, I think, but almost all the resorts have a run of some sort. Now, Amy's staying at Riverside. Now, while Riverside doesn't have a run, French Quarter does. It's called the Beignet Run. And I believe it's on Sunday mornings around 9 o'clock, but ask at the check-in desk. They'll let you know. They'll give you a little paper. You do get a medal that's kind of like Mardi Gras beads. And apparently you do get a beignet at the finish. So how about that? And you get a little number and stuff like that. Ricky, have you done a blog post or anything on all these runs? Because they're spreading. I think they're at almost every resort at this point.
They are. I have not. But if any of my bloggers are listening to this and would like to do a blog post,
it's not a super long run, and it's something, I like getting a souvenir that you get for doing something, whether you create something kind of like the Kid Cot's fun stops they have, or, a little quick run, because you don't have to run it. You can walk it. And heck, man, a beignet to start the day. And it's justified because you do a little exercise. You don't feel as guilty about it.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Sure.
100%.
Right. Todd saying that they are on Sunday mornings. That's what I thought, because I ran that path many, many times when I was down there, and I saw the sign each time I went by, but I didn't get the time. But I know it is Sunday morning, so check in. All right, next question says, more photos, please. Jennifer has it. She is in Painesville, Ohio. That just sounds like a place that could be called Painesville. That's not P-A-I-N,
right?
P-A-I-N-E-S. Yeah, so painful. Anyway, hi, gang. One of my favorite parts of a Walt Disney World vacation is the memory maker. It's my souvenir of choice. I've purchased it a few times over the past several years. Unfortunately, we've never gotten a magic shot taken. How can we get magic shots on our next trip? Should I just ask the cast member photographer? Are all the photographers capable of taking pictures like that? Are they all willing to take those type of pictures? It's surprising to me that we've had so many pictures taken with so many settings at Walt Disney World, and we've never had the opportunity to have one of those special photos. Thank you for your help, and keep up the good work with the podcast. I look forward to every episode. Jennifer. Well, apparently Jennifer doesn't know the secret handshake that gets you magic shots. You got to be
right.
And you got to be like jumping on one foot. No, Pam, thoughts? Because to me, I've never asked for them, and I get them every once in a while. Not every once in a while, but I mean, you could probably get them as much as you want, I would think.
Yeah. So there's only certain photographers that actually have the ability to do that, because it depends on the background, what's behind you sometimes. And then sometimes I feel like they give some photographers who are not in really popular areas access to do some cool ones too, like the ones that don't matter as much, like put your hands like this.
Right.
The people who are watching on Facebook, put your hands like this, or I know.
It's what if you've ever gone to Yeehaw Bob, it's the bird in the nest and the egg.
Oh my gosh, right? Yes.
Go round and around. Yeah,
I know. So anyways, so that's something to think about, that not all of them can. But what you can do is, first of all, just ask when you're there. Say, can you do a magic shot? And some will say yes, some will say no, and some will say, well, you'll be surprised when you go and see. So but yeah.
Yes.
So Ricky, do you ask, is that acceptable? Is that encouraged? Or do you just let the magic hopefully hit you? Because apparently it hasn't.
You know what? If it's something that is important, I would absolutely ask. And in this instance, it sounds very important. I've only been with someone who's asked once. That was when I was with Jocelyn, and she had seen a Coco magic shot that was at the Mexico Pavilion, and she had wanted it. So she had asked. But personally, I always forget to ask. Like, it completely, goes through my mind. Occasionally they'll have me do something, that's very, very occasional, where they'll, have me put my hands a certain way or something like that. But for the most part, when I have gotten magic shots before, just surprise, and they're usually, they are surprises to me. I don't know that they're coming, and they're usually from a picture that I had already had taken, and then they'll have the magic shot put on that picture. So, most of the time I'm not asking for them. But if it's very important to you, I would absolutely ask for it.
All righty, good advice. And shout out to Betsy in Virginia. She says Carolyn, her 6-year-old, loves the podcast, and she's getting excited for her upcoming cruise. So I just want to say hello to Caroline. Thanks for tuning in today, and you're going to love that cruise, man. I can't wait. June 28th can't get here fast enough for us. Let's see here. We have another quick one here in the chat from Laura. She says, so we have a trip coming up in March for a week. Originally staying at Pop Century, upgraded to Caribbean Beach for $249 difference. Good move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
100%.
Boom. I mean, that's exactly right. Yeah.
100%. It's a great move. Caribbean Beach looks great right now, I will say. We've had a chance to be over there a few times and really enjoyed it. I absolutely will mention that you should eat at the new restaurant. It is so worth it. It really is. The food's great. I heard that they've recently stopped serving lunch. I think that has more to do with, first of all, people not being there at the resort during the middle of the day. So many people are there enjoying the parks at that time. There's going to be a whole new resort basically that is opening up there in the next few years. So they're going to have a big influx of people that I think that they may open for lunch at some point in the future. And I also think that people just don't know about it. Not everyone follows the Disney news like we all do. I know, right? So hard to believe.
It is.
But yeah, that's not something that everyone does. And so folks may not even know about this new location. So anyways, I say, absolutely. I think you'll really love Caribbean Beach. I think it has a great pool, especially for kids. If you have kids traveling with you, that'll be someplace that you want to check out. It's so themed and just really fun. It has, besides the table service restaurant, they also have some counter service restaurants that are serving some good stuff over there. So make sure you check those out too. And it just is the kind of resort I think that looks good. Just really, I really enjoy it. Once you step on property there, I feel like you're somewhere else. You really feel like you're in the Caribbean. Really and truly. So take advantage of that. Make sure you set aside some time to enjoy that resort. I think $249, good deal.
Yeah. Yes. Let me tell you a funny story from Marathon Weekend. It surrounds Caribbean Beach and going and visiting the resort. Okay, so Scott was down. So this was after the marathon. No. Yeah, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, it was after the marathon because I was falling asleep. Anyway, so I ran the marathon. He didn't. He went and cheered, but he got up super early. So we were both kind of tired. We had a dinner at Ohana that night at like 5:30, but we were back in the room. It was like 2:30. We had like enough time to go do something because we didn't want to have downtime, but we didn't really have enough time to go into a park, because we had to be at Ohana at 5:30. So we're trying to come up with an idea. So we're like, let's go see Caribbean Beach. I haven't seen it yet. I want to kind of tour it real quick. So stupid. We get over there, and then all of a sudden we decide we need to get souvenirs for our girls because we're going to get in trouble when we get home if we don't have souvenirs. So Scott's like, I've always wanted to go to that outlet mall on I-4.
Yes.
Okay. No. So so we're like, we can get souvenirs and save a lot of money, and it'll be cheaper, but we'll still get souvenirs. So we're like, okay, he had a rental car. So I'm like, we have a rental car. It's now or never. I've never seen this place. I got to go check it out. Okay, so we drive over to that outlet mall, the one that you see if you're on Magical Express. It's got the Nike and the Oakley and all the places. I don't know. So anyway, we go over there. We drive around literally for 20 minutes.
You can't find a spot.
No parking. There, it is worse than Black Friday at our worst mall in St. Louis. We drove around so long. I told Scott, he was driving. I'm like, I'm taking a nap, dude. I just ran a marathon. When you find a spot, let me know. Wake me up. So we're driving around. What we ended up doing was stalking people. When they come out of the bag, we just get behind them and just follow them. Well, this guy cuts through, we had him. We're like, we got this spot. The guy zigzagged and went through 2 banks and we missed it because somebody else came down the other end. So we're almost getting in fights about trying to find a parking spot. So anyway, after forever, we find a parking spot. We're like, yes, we're committed though now because we've waited so long to get a parking spot. We're buying stuff in that Disney store. We're like, we spent this much time. We got to buy all the stuff. We go in that store, dude. It's a mess. There's nothing in that store that I want. They had Disney Cruise Line stuff from the European sailings. It was a scrapbooking kit. The only shirts they had were size small. I was like, oh, and it was all like Christmas stuff from last year. I mean, I know it's like old stuff, but I don't know, I had high hopes. And that was
I've done well there, but that's just me. So that's where I got my orange bird dress. So yeah, I've done well there.
Nothing fit us. Like it was nothing in like big dude size. You know
That's
what I'm saying? Like,
I've bought a few things there actually. So you just kind of gotta know, and you gotta like look and explore. It can be a lot of fun when you actually get to that outlet store, but I will admit it is a huge pain to get there. And that mall they had a parking garage, right? Like there was a nice parking garage.
You're not paying $10.
It used to be free. And so I would be like, forget it. I'm just parking in the parking garage and that's that. I'm not stalking anybody. It was great when it was free. And then they decided that they were going to charge $10 or whatever to park there. And I was like, really? That is such a ripoff. So I'm angry at them about that irrationally. Well, probably not irrationally, probably rationally, because that's really irritating. Because there was always a ton of spots in that stupid parking garage, and now they're gotta pay
like
money.
17 spots you could park in, because the rest of them are like for valet, and like some of them you had to have an app. We couldn't figure out the app to get a spot. There weren't any spots in that area either. Anyway, so and a dude just kept trying to sell me a Carnival cruise, like in those little kiosks going down the middle. I'm like, I just did a marathon. I don't want to buy a Carnival cruise right now. I'm tired. I'm hungry. We're going to the Disney place. Oh, and I told the guy, I was like, I only sail Disney Cruise Line. And he tried to get in a fight with me about that. I'm like, dude, you don't even want to fight me right now. Like, I'm serious.
Like, now is not the time.
I hate shopping. Like, I am just like, kill somebody here. So don't go over there.
Well, I've definitely gotten good deals at the Disney Character Outlet, it depends on who you are and if you have the patience. I will admit, it is a disaster zone at that store. I mean, literally just junk everywhere. But if you can find something, you can get a decent deal there. So don't discount the Disney Character Outlet.
I did tell Scott, I said, look, dude, there's an O'Charlie's like food truck right here. I was like, we could probably eat for $6 and save 50 and not go to Ohana. So we thought about that. It was just a nightmare. If you don't like shopping, do not even ever be tempted to try that. It was.
Oh my gosh! Exactly.
Yeah, okay. That was the story. And shout out! I want to. We got some folks tune in. I missed it. Well, so I'll go back to that. Let's get to the questions right here. So, Walt Disney World on a budget. What? This one comes from Jenna. Hi, Mike, Ricky, and Pam. Love the podcast, especially how often you publish them. It keeps me going during the work week. Well, we try. Anyway, question for you. We have 5 free nights with travel rewards at the Swan coming up in 2020. However, let's be honest, 5 nights isn't enough, so I need to split stay with Pop for an additional 2 nights. This will serve 3 purposes. Stay longer at Walt Disney World, transportation one way to or from the airport, and magic bands for our family of 4. All important since we are really trying to spend as little as possible on this trip. A couple of questions for you. 1, would you stay at Pop at the beginning of your trip or at the end? If we did it at the end, would you get the magic bands in time for the start of my trip? Will the magic bands work the whole trip? And those 2. And 3, how does the transfer work from the Swan to Pop or vice versa? Is it a royal pain or easy peasy? All right, she has one last question, but let's start there. So if you're doing a Swan Pop Century split, Pam, I would do Pop at the end if that's kind of what you're looking for as far as staying in a Disney hotel. I always say save what I'm looking for the most to the end, but what would you do?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, one thing I want to point out is the magic bands are not going to work at the Swan and Dolphin to open your resort or to charge to. You won't be able to do either of those things. You should be able to use the magic bands to access your fast passes and also to get into the park if your tickets are linked to your My Disney experience. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about, what you want to do. But I'm with Mike. I tend to let things go, toward the end if I'm really looking forward to it. The other thing is think about where you might be spending downtime and where you would like to do that, which resort is, preferable for you. And that's just a personal, thing. You'll have to think about that one.
So can they transfer their stuff from the Swan to the Pop? I've never really thought
they can do that. As with any transfer of things, I cannot let that happen. I cannot let Disney take my stuff from one resort to another. Even if I had to get an Uber and pay like less than $10 and do it myself to know that it's going to be there when I want it to be there, that's what I would do. But Disney does do it. They do it often. Just know that there's going to be a chunk of time when your stuff's not going to be there. So let's say you go to check in at your next resort, whichever one it is, and you want your stuff there. Know that it very well may not be there. They only do it at certain times. They don't do it throughout the day a whole bunch of different times. So just do that. For me, I'm always happier if I'm going to do it myself. I can go there to the resort. I have my stuff with me. If my room happens to be ready, awesome. I can go take it to the room. If not, I check it with Bell Services at the resort I'm at, and I feel good knowing that it's at the same resort that I'm at. So that's why I like it.
I just remember a couple of years ago, not this past marathon weekend, but the one before, when it was colder than anything, and we stayed at Pop because it was, back that year it was like tied in with New Year's Eve. So we stayed at Pop for New Year's Eve, went over to Yacht or Beach. I think we had Beach for the group rate. We went over there, and like my stuff just got transferred from Pop Century to the Beach Club, and it took like 18 hours. Like my running stuff was in there, man. I was fired up. I was down there like, man, you don't understand. My sneakers are in there for the races, and it was getting late, and I'm like, I got to go to bed. Oh, it got there, but I was sweating because of that.
Wow, that's a challenge.
All right, she has one last question. She says, if you have time thinking about going down in February for Star Wars, is it crazy thinking with the crowds? Should we wait until later? I thought of going in April 2020, but with Easter break coinciding with our spring break, I thought the crowds would be super high, very limited with high school schedules. Thanks so much for all you do. Jenna's in Massachusetts. So it's really hard to predict, right, Ricky? I mean, February would start, Galaxy's Edge being open late 2019. I guess she's talking February 2020.
Yeah.
So
I have heard that maybe they're trying to push the opening of Galaxy's Edge forward a little bit. So they're not claiming late fall anymore like they once were. However, anything can happen. It's still really early in the game. And I'm still going on the late fall thing just in case, because you just never know. So it may be pushed up a month or so ahead of time. It won't be pushed up more than that if it's pushed up anything, but it may not be late December. It may be, November now. But as far as February, I mean, it's still going to be cuckoo bananas. I mean, it's going to be cuckoo bananas, up until probably at least a year and a half, 2 years later. So, I mean, you're just going to have to grin and bear it no matter when you go, to be perfectly honest. Now, you might get a little bit less in February, but compared to spring break, yeah, you're probably going to get a little bit less traffic in the park. But, I mean, it's still going to be cuckoo bananas because everybody's going to want to see, it's going to be the new hotness. So everybody's going to want to see it.
All right. So let's get to some questions here from the live chat. Katie says, I'm planning my first trip to Disneyland. Been to the world a ton. Wondering if you have any tips for resorts or trip planning in general for California. How many days should we do? So Pam, give her a quick 1-2 on this one, world to land.
So many people who are traveling to Disneyland say that it's not as important to stay on site at Disneyland as it is Disney World. There are lots of good neighbor packages, so you can always explore that option. For me personally, I find it as important to stay on site at Disneyland, and I'll tell you why. When I am on a Disney vacation, I want to be in the Disney bubble, and there is no place I want to be in it more than Disneyland, because once you step out of Disneyland property, you're really in Greater Anaheim, which is very different than Orlando. I mean, you drive away to get outside of that bubble, and it is Anaheim. Good, bad, and ugly, it's Anaheim. So think about that. The other reason why I like to stay at a Disneyland hotel is that they have a pool area that you're probably not going to find at most other Good Neighbor resorts. So if that's something that is part of your vacation too, think about that. Now, once again, this is a personal preference. And because Disneyland only has 3 hotels, their pricing can be more expensive. I'm going to say can be as in will be.
Will be, yeah.
They don't have a value and a moderate and a whatever. They have the Disneyland Hotel, they have Paradise Pier, and have the Grand Californian. And so keep that in mind as well. Again, I really enjoy all 3 of the hotels. Definitely a nod to Disneyland Hotel because it just feels so nostalgic, and Grand Californian because it is just absolutely beautiful. So
Good stuff. All right, Dana's in the chat as well. She says, how would you plan for crowds with Easter being so late this year? Last year, late April, early May was perfect, but do you think with Easter being so late, it'll affect the spring break crowds being so much later? I love the tail end of the Flower and Garden Festival, but crowds were amazing last year. Anxious that this year will be totally different. So, Ricky, what do you think? Kind of combining Easter running late, you got spring breaks. College spring breaks tend to be very early, but then you got spring. Well, I think that most even public schools in the Midwest and the South are moving those up earlier than later. I don't know when Easter is. I didn't look.
Easter's like the 20th or something, 21st of April. Yeah, it's
that is late.
Yeah, I think it's I'm pretty sure if I remember right, because I did work on the crowd calendar for 2019 for the Mass for Less. So if you are kind of wondering about what crowds are going to be like, you can go check that out on the Mouse for Less. We have a great crowd calendar there. But, you know, as far as Easter is concerned, I mean, you're going to definitely have a higher crowd the week before Easter for sure, because that's usually when people have off, although some may have off that week after too. So, I mean, it's going to be crowded around that time. I would say you might have a slight lull in the crowds, maybe that, you know, second week of April, maybe the first week of April, just because, like you said, Mike, I think a lot of schools do take that spring break time early now in March. So, or, you know, in mid-March, that kind of thing. So I think a lot of them won't have spring break during that April time. And then since Easter is so late because of that, they will have like maybe a Easter weekend, you know, like a 4-day weekend or something like that, right around that Easter time period. That's kind of what I see when Easter is later in the year. So, you know, I would say maybe that second week of April might be a sweet spot potentially.
I agree too, because you got to also think spring break will be over for all the ball teams in Florida at the end of March. So the people that are going out for spring break trying to jump over to the world, that won't be happening because all the teams will have moved north by then. Joanne says April 21st again.
April 21st. Yeah, see, I knew I was about right. Yeah.
It's a thanks to Joanne. Just got back from her awesome cruise. Can't wait to hear all about that. Okay, so Josh has a question in the chat. And we got to get to it because he just also put that he actually got into a fight at that mall on Black Friday one time. So shout out, she had to throw a hook on somebody there that was getting a little, you know, crazy. That's why I got to stay away from malls, man. I'm telling you, they make you crazy. He says, where to go? Would y'all rather do the Disney after hours at the studios on arrival day or the last night in the parks? We'll be driving in from Louisiana. So these Disney after hours events are getting rave reviews from my guests at the Magic for Less. And just from what I'm reading on social media, of course, they are kind of pricey, but I'm telling you, what I tell my guests is if you want to feel like Elvis in a theme park, this is about as close as you're ever going to get. You know, you're getting some fun snacks, you're getting ultra exclusive access to some of the most popular attractions, and it's a lot of fun. So Pam, what would you say for that? Disney after hours at the studios arrival day or the last night in the parks? Would you be like kick it off or wrap it up?
I think I would kick it off with that because you're driving. I will let you do something on your first night. You know how I'm always like, when you're going for a cruise, arrive the day before. When you're arriving in Walt Disney World, that first evening, if you're flying in, don't plan anything that you're going to get charged for if you don't show up for, because you know, you never know what's going to happen with flights, you know, at this time. So think about that. But since you're driving in, I think that the best thing for you to do is to just go ahead and do it that first night. Take advantage of being there, and just enjoying that. It's so cool. Then you have the rest of your vacation, maybe to kind of, you know, gather up some sleep there, catch up on your sleep because you do stay up pretty late. Maybe you stay up later than we do. I don't know. But anyways, go and enjoy. I think it's a great way to kick off your vacation. Absolutely. Like what Mike said, they're getting such great reviews. Everyone seems to really enjoy it. And I've heard over and over again, absolutely worth it. So
100%. All right, Jerry's got a great question in the chat also about bounce back. Says, if you book a bounce back offer, do you have to book the same resort that you're staying in? Want to get one for January 2020 when we're down next week, but not necessarily at Art of Animation again. All right, so here's the deal on bounce backs. So bounce back offers are really good discounts most of the time, and availability, it varies. But the way this works is you have to place your deposit while you're on your current stay, and you have until midnight the night you check out. So say you check out at, you head to the airport at 10 in the morning on your checkout day. You can still, if you panic and you're at a MCO, call up or get your travel agent to hook you up. But hey, I'm a travel agent. Don't do that at the last minute. It puts a lot of pressure on us, man. When you're like, oh my gosh, it's the last day. I got 2 hours. It's like, whoa, hold the presses. And I don't have any presses to hold. So give me a little heads up on that if I'm helping you out. But you want to book it before you check out. And you got to place that deposit. Again, when you get home, you can modify or cancel if you needed, just like always. So it's kind of always, it's one of those things you miss out if you don't do it while you're down there. But there's really no harm in doing it while you're there. If you get home and you can't make the trip or you got to change things, updates, so forth, based on availability, you can still do that. Good news for Terry, you don't have to book the same resort. You can book a different resort if you want, which is fine. However, if you're looking for January 2020, you got to book within their booking window. So you wouldn't be able to do that next week, right, Pam? Because we can't book 2020 yet.
No, we can't. And you have to book when Disney has made the reservations available. And for the packages for 2020 are unfortunately not available yet. I know that people want them to be. We probably have another couple months to wait on this. So, sorry. But, just try to pick a date that's available right now. And like Mike said, you have to pick a time that is the travel dates and the eligibility dates, all of those things. You have to consider everything when you're doing that. But isn't there another, time you're just looking for an excuse to go down? I mean, I'm looking for excuses. I'm searching for flights right now. So come on, come join me.
You know what? I think Terry may be in Florida too, because I think it might help him out with his trips. And
there you go.
Hey, man, that's just like driving a little ways. So go for it.
Yeah,
hey, if I was in Florida, I'd be like, oh, I got to go again. Oh, I got to go again. But that'd
be like, whoops, I have to go again and again and again.
So a quick question from Alfred about the Disney After Hours. Ricky, are there rare characters ever at these events? Have you heard about that? Seemed like it'd be a great opportunity, but I haven't seen it.
It does seem like a great opportunity for characters, but I don't think that they have rare characters. They have like Princess Fairy Tale Hall, I think, is open. The facilities like that tend to be open, but like they don't have rare characters just out. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that most of the times when they have rare characters out, it's during the daytime so that they don't have to have special lighting and stuff like that. So I would expect that there's not a lot of rare characters, just the ones that you're going to see like in their own meet and greet areas.
And Josh is saying, he went down for just one day, got a bounce back. I've had a lot of guests do that. You're just there for one day, but call in and get a bounce back. And it's actually, it's a strategy. It's something, if you can swing that, you can do that. And Terry says, well, there's another excuse to don't do another trip later this year. So there you go, Pam. You just talked Terry into another trip. How hard is that? It's not.
I like to enable people.
That's exactly it. We give you a little help. All right. First, next question. We're going back to the inbox. It says long time, first time. It's from Steve. Cardinal Mike, please help. But I'm a cardinal now. I'm not even Catholic, but I guess I'm a cardinal.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So I
roll my eyes at you.
Oh, no, sorry. For her Mother's Day gift, I'm sending my wife and daughter to do the cake decorating class at Amorette's Patisserie. Disney Springs. How'd I do on those pronunciations there?
There you go.
That's good. Good job, Mike. I'm proud of you.
I know that's a fancy cake place, people.
Yes, it is.
We are staying at Pop Century for the listed time for Disney Springs. We're staying at Pop Century, and the listed time for Disney Springs opening is 10 o'clock a.m. The class begins at 9 o'clock a.m. What do you suggest the best way to get to Disney Springs will be? We are not very adventurous travelers, never used an Uber or Lyft, and usually use Disney transportation for everything. Will the buses be running to Disney Springs that early in the morning, say 8:20, 8:30, or is a minivan our only option? Also, when I booked this experience, the Disney site said the cost is $129, but it's now listed at $149. Will they honor the price when I booked it, or will I have to pay the current price? Thanks so much for answering my questions. Y'all are magical. I love the show. 2016 Disney Marathon finisher, go Lizards. And then he came with a chainsaw. Roar, he said. I love that.
I love it.
And that's one of our most popular shows, and that was the stupidest show.
It was so dumb.
That's
Oh man,
crazy.
what happens when you put me and Mike together? It's not good.
I'm not
Not
hosting
good.
here tonight. And so, what you should do is just order a minivan, and then Goofy will pull up with the chainsaw and let you take you to Amorette's. No. So let me ask this to Ricky. How would you get there? You know what? I really never took a cab or Uber or Lyft or anything like that until I went to Walt Disney World, and now I love them. But that's the only place I do it. I don't know. It's like a part of my trips now. But
no, it's understandable. Yeah, I mean, Disney is a good gateway to the Uber Lyft world because you do feel kind of safe. I mean, all things considered, because you are just in Walt Disney World property, so there's not a lot of places they can take you that are going to be wrong.
You're in their car; they can take you to.
Well, I mean, you could. And let's not talk about my horror story that I had on my first Uber ride. I'm surprised I've gotten an Uber since then. But anyway,
there you go, Ricky. There you go, fam. Ricky's selling it again. That's just
No, I'm an Uber aficionado now. So
I'm sure now that you said that, Steve's going to put his wife and daughter in an Uber or a Lyft. So we can throw those out. Okay, so that's gone.
No. Uber and Lyft are just fine. But I, if they are worried about it, I would maybe take the minivan. I think that's going to be the better option. That way you have peace of mind and you aren't worried about a bus schedule and everything like that. So I think the minivan, if you're too nervous to take an Uber, is going to be the best option for you.
That's what I would do. All right.
But you do have to download the Uber, or you do have to download the Lyft app in order to be able to get one of the minivans. So do keep that in mind. Like, you will have to have the Lyft app on there because it is run through Lyft, basically, is how the minivans are run.
And I mean, if you're splurging, go all the way and get the minivan. I mean, that's like the ultimate mom-daughter, like, it's the modern day Princess Coach.
Yeah.
It's got polka. And that's a big thing apparently now. Have you seen those new shirts that Disney has with the polka dots? I'm not talking about like the Spirit jersey that's got like the polka dots on it. I'm talking about the one that's got like the fuzzy things like glued on it.
Yes, I don't know what's up with that. That's weird.
I was just wondering if it's just me. I'm like, okay, that's going to be the thing we look back on in a decade.
You're going to find that at the outlets that you went to, Mike, in about 6 months.
I'm sorry, those things. I mean, because it's like, it's one of those things though, I think. And I mean, if you like it, you like it. But I think it's like, we look back at like MC Hammer pants from the 90s. Like that's like I wore MC Hammer pants, man. I worked at a skating rink. That was like
uniform. That the Spirit jersey will be like MC Hammer pants in the future. So we'll see.
Yes, I would say yes, it will be.
I think they will be. Yeah.
Whatever. I brought home Purple Passion or whatever they're called, Purple Potion Spirit jerseys for the girls.
There you go.
So
they're going to be the MC Hammer. They are cool for now. I think they're going to be like what MC Hammer pants are now in like 20 years. So people are going to be like, gosh, remember when everybody was bananas about the Spirit jerseys? And we're going to look at them and laugh. Just like we do fanny packs. Although fanny packs are back now for some weird reason. And I don't understand that either.
You don't even know.
What is wrong with you people? It's a fanny pack. Okay.
Mallory got all the cheerleaders have fanny packs, like with their gym name on them. Like they're the hotness, man. You got to have a fanny pack. And I'm thinking, I can't believe you have a fanny pack. Like you used to get beat up if you wore these things.
Yeah.
I like the hashtag.
They are flattering for many people. I will say this. I will say this.
No,
I like the hashtag unsafe advice. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I like that James says you guys got to quit hating on my dad jokes.
No,
I saw that. Yeah. I saw that.
If we were on that one show on ESPN, 5 points for James. All right, next question from Phil LeBlanc down in he was down there for Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend. His title is Late Arrival in Bags. Hi, Mike. Congratulations on another dopey. It was great to see you run and hang out with you and all the lizards over Marathon Weekend. Same to you, Phil. It was a lot of fun. We had some fun riding the bus at 3 o'clock in the morning. You can't say that many other places, man. We had a fun bus ride at 3 a.m. and we were not even getting in trouble and there was no alcohol involved. So there you go. I mean, that's a really strange thing unless you're a Run Disney person. Okay, he says, as you know, we have a reservation booked for May at Wilderness Lodge. Due to some airline changes, we've changed our flight to arrive the night before that reservation begins and booked a room at Saratoga Springs for their DVC points. This leaves me with a question. Since we'll be arriving around 8:30 p.m., now pay attention, I don't expect we'll get the bags delivered to Saratoga until quite late. Our kids are 4 and 6, so a late luggage delivery isn't an option. I know we can ignore the yellow luggage tags, retrieve the bags from the airport, before boarding the bus, but I was curious since we'll be moving resorts the next day anyway, if we can leave a note with Bell Services just to hold the bags until the next day to transfer to Wilderness Lodge. Thanks, Phil. So Phil has actually, I like his idea. I like his thinking here. What he wants is the bags, apparently. So he wants I guess he's going to bring a day bag with what he needs to get through the night is what I'm expecting for the kids.
Right.
And PJs and, contact stuff and all that. But what he would like is instead of them coming and beating on the door, say at midnight, here's your bag, sir. If they could just leave them at Bell Services and then just transfer them ASAP over to Wilderness Lodge instead of coming to the resort room for that night. I like the idea, but Pam, is there a mechanic in place to get that done?
Look, I'm going to be as honest as honest can be. I can be honest as honest could be. Even if there was a mechanism, and your note was the best note in the world, right? I would
the best note in the world. I like that.
I would really not trust this this to happen correctly. I truly would not. And for me, on vacation, one night of not getting sleep on vacation starts a whole cascade of things that you may not recover from. You know it as well as I know it. You don't get sleep one night, and then the next night you're tired, but you have something planned you want to enjoy, so you're getting home late, and then you're but if I go to sleep now, maybe I can catch up on no. Just save yourself so much trouble. Grab your bags. It literally takes no time at all. Go down, grab them, take them with you to Magical Express, put them on the bus yourself there at Magical Express. Then guess what? My bag's riding underneath me right now, and it's with you. And I've already talked about how I don't let people move my bags for me. Every time in the times I've ridden Magical Express, which is just one, I'm still at one.
Just one
time, one in holding, right? Because last time I actually took Uber, I was gonna ride Magical Express.
I remember you talking about taking Magical Express, so I was concerned.
I love Magical Express. I am all in. I do love it.
Well, awesome for you. And I know it is a great benefit to so many of our guests. I mean, and I totally get it. It's just not my personality to love it. So me and Magical Express have an understanding. Yes. I tell people how awesome of a service it is, and Magical Express doesn't expect me to ride it. So that's our understanding.
You rode one time to get the Magical Express co-pilot license, and then you're done.
That's right.
I like it because I like this landing, chilling, getting on that bus. I'm not in a big rush. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
Luggage gets delivered and it's free. Man, that is my price. I pay for everything else. I'm going to pay $4 for my soda in a half hour. I'm going to get that free ride.
And see, I don't care about the soda. I'm good. You know what? You want me to pay $3 for water? Awesome. Water's for everybody.
Okay, you heard it here. We got a big audience, man.
Well, I mean, you can get it for free at the quick service. That's
true. You're getting everybody ice water. You didn't say bottled water. You said ice water at the ABC commissary. All water for free. There we go. All right, last question of the day is coming for it's titled AKL Drinks and Solo Travels. Looks like it's from Jessica, who apparently works down at News 12 Now in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I like that. Hey, BOGP gang. I enjoy listening to you every week on my commute to work. Thank you for always providing excellent and entertaining content. It's been 8 years since my last visit to the world, and I have accepted a last-minute invitation to join a friend and her family on a trip in early February. I will not be a registered resort guest, although I'm staying with them at Animal Kingdom Lodge, so I'm looking for things to do while they are there early, and they're doing their early and late magic hours. Additionally, for the last 3 days of the trip, I'm switching over to All-Star Sports and joining my cousin's cheer team that is competing. Ooh, I'll be down there for cheer too. She will be busy coaching the team, and I plan to enjoy the parks and resorts solo. With that scenario set up, here are my questions. 1, things to do solo at Animal Kingdom Lodge. Any good spots to sneak away with a bottle of wine and just watch the animals or people? All right, let's stop.
Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Everywhere. And there's actually at Animal Kingdom Lodge, there's little outdoor kind of porches with rocking chairs. And those are great. I would also encourage you to explore not only Jumbo House, but go down to Kidani, because a lot of people don't do that. There's it's not a long walk. You can walk it, but there's a little van that takes you back and forth. Yeah, just explore the lodge is what I would say for that one. 2, best monorail route or any other area for lounges or bars for a solo traveler. The cheaper, the better. Well, sorry about the cheaper, the better, but I mean, Pam, we've talked about this many times. You know, you got the monorail loop, you got, Trader Sam's, you got Tambu Lounge, you got Outer Rim, you have Misner's, all on the monorail there, and you could hop over to Territory Lounge by boat from the Contemporary. So, but what do you think of, like, what's the cheap lounge tour that you could think of? I can't think of a cheap one.
You could stop. I mean, the good thing is you don't have to think so much about the cheap because the drinks are typically about the same price.
Yeah.
All across Disney property. So you may want to think about that. You could travel to Disney Springs. Again, I'm not going to say that the pricing will be that much difference, but you'll have a few places you could check out. Like Splitsville has, some places where you can sit outside and get a drink sometimes and see that. The Starbucks actually, not mixed drinks, but they do sell wine in the evening. So think about that. Of course, you have Jock Lindsay's. Another place you can go is Paddlefish up on the top deck there if you have lovely weather. And Hannah and I have done that, and we had the best time just kind of goofing around up there. It was surprisingly empty. Like, I seriously wished everyone I knew was there because there was such a nice seating area, and you know how it is when you're traveling with a big group. Sometimes you have a hard time finding a place. This was so nice and open. We were just like, boom, where are all our friends? It was just the two of us. So we were watching behind us this awesome Instagram shot that this young woman was putting her boyfriend through. It was literally 35 minutes of her, no joke, her like holding the drink here and then like this and then like this, and then they'd look at the photo and she'd be like, no, and then this, and at the end of it, she left the drink there. She took like but 2 drinks of this drink. Nice. So it was all for the Instagram shoot. But anyways, it was a great evening. I can't guarantee you that you'll see an Instagram.
And then Pam went and stole the drink and drank the rest of it because she's like, cool.
I thought hard about it. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it was apparently all for the photos, I guess. So
I'd rather drink it.
So,
and then take the Instagram photo while
I know,
drinking
right?
it.
I know, right? I know. Well, I don't understand.
I'm feeling this wrong. See, Pam, I'm actually eating the food that I'm Instagramming. I'm supposed to just throw it away. I'm doing it all wrong.
What the heck?
Go back and look at my pictures from Marathon Weekend of my food. Usually there's a bite out before I take it. There's a waffle, there's a bite, or there's a biscuit, there's a bite out of it. I'm like, I'm too hungry.
When we went to the Geyser Point on Christmas, like around Christmas, my mom had thought she had taken it because she's used to me now, so she thought she'd taken a picture of her chicken sandwich because we both got the same chicken sandwich, and I had gotten up to talk to Nikki and Mug, and so she thought that she'd taken one, and then she came back and realized she hadn't, and I had already taken a bite out of mine, so we literally like stuck the piece that I'd taken the bite out of back inside the wrapper so that it looked like it was totally uneaten.
Again, Ricky, that's twice that you pulled a Ricky on today's show.
See, there you go.
Twice in one
show. So that picture you saw, I've already bitten out of that food.
Inside baseball, people. Inside baseball right here. All right, anyway, we're wrapping it on that before Ricky says anything else. So I don't think today's show has been brought to you. Today's show brought to you by our friends at virtualmickey.com, home of great Theme Park News, Disney Edition. And you can read about great news with all of your Disney content. Ricky, what are we reading about this week?
I mean, we are reading about all the fun that you can have at the Disney parks right now. So at the Magic Kingdom, you can celebrate with Mickey and Minnie's surprise celebration and meet Mickey and Minnie in their fun polka-dotted costumes at the Town Square Theater. You can see the Move It, Shake It, Mouse Could Dance It street party, which I've actually heard is kind of fantastic. at Disney's Hollywood Studios, you can go to Municiberg, which is the former Pixar Place area, and for the incredible celebration and take part in the Super Shindig dance party, because you always have to have dance party. And there's just so much more that's taking place. Also, a couple of things coming this summer. The Guardians of the Galaxy Awesome Mix Live is returning. Yes, Pam, it's coming back.
Yay.
Actually,
I love me some mixtape show. I'm just,
my gosh.
You know what? I did like the music, but I had no idea who the green person was or the purple person.
so why don't you take a little bit of your life and just go ahead and watch Guardians of the Galaxy?
I will.
You can watch. You
One
can watch it,
and two.
and you not watch any other Marvel movies, because I don't watch many Marvel movies, but I've seen that one, and I've seen.
I
the
watched all of them, and
So,
you have to go back and watch them again because at
Yes.
some point I'm like, no, wait a minute, what?
Pam, talk to me when wave season's over, and then I'll get on it.
I know, right?
Sure.
No.
So anyway,
True.
lots of fun stuff happening now and this summer at the Walt Disney World Resort. So fun stuff.
And I thought you were just going to talk about how you can paint Pop-Tarts down at Festival of the Arts, but you've
you can paint the wall at Festival of the Arts. And
Yeah,
here's our segue for that. I will be at Walt Disney World this weekend. So if you are going to want to see all the content from Festival of the Arts / all the stuff that I talked about that's happening at Walt Disney World right now, I'm going to have content for you guys. So follow along with all of our social sites so you can see all the fun stuff that's happening at Walt Disney World right now.
And Friday, we're
There's
talking
our
about the arts right here too with Todd. He was down there last weekend. So there you go.
Exactly.
All right. So great apps, virtualmickey.com. Drop by today. Make your Apple device a Disney device. Give us a follow on social media. We're on Instagram and Twitter at BeOurGuestMike and at BeOurGuestPod. The great Facebook page at facebook.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. And again, support the show with our Amazon affiliate link. It's BeOurGuestPodcast.com/Amazon. Thanks to everybody who gave us ratings and reviews on iTunes and Stitcher this past week. We sure appreciate that. Thanks for taking the time. And if you can do that this week and you haven't lately, please drop by and give us your thoughts on the show. We appreciate that so much. All right, time to get out of here. We'll be back again on Friday with Chef Todd and Pam and Ricky talking Festival of the Arts and all the foods and all the experiences and even a trip over to Give Kids the World for a very special event as well.
Mm-hmm.
So for Pam and Ricky, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Time to head back to work, and we'll see you real soon. All right, let me save that one real quick.
Pam, your screen is crooked.
My screen?
Well, your camera is crooked. I can see your wall. It was bothering me the whole podcast, but I didn't want to say anything.
This wall?
Yes, I can see your actual wall. Like this. Can you see it on the screen?
Oh,
Mike?
yeah. I see.
Oh, okay, good.
Episode 1347 on edit.
No, I can still see it.
I see it.
All right, so if Todd is watching, Todd, come on
Still there.
in. You got the link. If not, I got to text Todd. Text Todd.
It's not working. There, that's better.
There.
I keep
I
seeing
think
the wall.
you can see it, but I don't think anyone else can.
I don't know.
Because you
Maybe.
don't get the wide view. It's
That's
the
true.
three of us.
That's true. See, Alan says Guardians is good.
Guardians is very good.
Guardians is awesome. I've seen Guardians and Ant-Man. Those are like the two that I've actually seen because I love me some Paul Rudd. So I've loved Paul Rudd since the Clueless days.
Wow.
I know. I go way back with Paul Rudd. Brian. Never mind. He can't
Oh,
hear
somebody had a question about about her son in the clubs. I wanted to answer that one real quick. It won't be
Oh,
on
yeah.
the podcast, but what they're going to do is they're going to give you a wave phone, and they'll be able to contact you if they need to get a hold of you for any kind of situation with your child in the clubs.
It did.
Talk.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, because somebody had like music playing or something too during that last one. Like there was sounds from the computer. It wasn't often, but it was like it sounded like a cell phone or something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Okay.
That I know wasn't me. I did hear what you were talking about, though.
I'll be able to cover it up with the music. So
That was weird. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what was going on with my computer.
yep, my dad will be in the ATL for a week. Doing all
Very
So
cool.
why?
Yep. He'll be at the Super Bowl. You want to go to Super Bowl stuff? You want to meet Tom Brady
No.
or Jared Goff? I told him I'm not watching the Super Bowl this year because I can't. I made a vow not to watch any Rams games, so no Super
there you
Bowl
go.
party for me.
I like how Ricky has a whole pot of
What is
coffee.
that? Is that coffee or tea?
That's what, she has coffee and she's pouring it into her cup the whole time.
It's coffee.
Good Lord.
What is happening here?
I'm gonna drink the rest of it now.
By the way, this is way past the point in time where my husband lets me drink coffee. I'll just say I have like a 4 o'clock cutoff time, and that's it. And then he's like, "You can't do it anymore." I'm like, "Really?"
Nope. I'm good. I still have
All
a
right.
little left.
I'm crazy.
Not.
Okay, so Tom, we'll just kind of talk about the stuff you did. We'll go for like 30 minutes or so and talk about the Give Kids World event too.
At the end?
What do you think, Ricky? End?
It doesn't
End?
matter, whichever one you prefer, Mike.
I don't care. I don't care.
What do you
talk
think,
about how
Todd?
my bag exploded at the airport?
Oh
Yeah,
God!
dude, you were on fire. That was crazy.
Did it really?
The cask and ladder or whatever that place is.
Yeah, cask and larder, my bag caught on fire.
Seriously?
My external battery burst into
You
flame.
didn't see the picture on Instagram?
No, I must have missed it.
Check
Oh my
Instagram. It's hilarious. Not hilarious. It is now, but it
Well,
wasn't
yeah, no,
then.
that's not hilarious at all.
No.
Yeah.
You don't want to start a fire at the airport. It's frowned
No,
upon.
no.
Holy
I don't
cow. Ricky, you send a guy to an event and he gets banned.
Oh my
Might as well
God.
burn the place down.
If it would
What
have
are you
happened on the
doing?
airplane, I don't know what would have happened. I really don't.
That's awful. Holy cow. At least it did it there and not
It
on the
could have been in a
airplane.
better place. I mean,
Yeah.
really was. Because an hour later,
Wow.
when Lord knows what would have happened.
Oh, man. You got to get rid of that Samsung Galaxy 7 or whatever that is.
It's a 9, and that wasn't the.
You got to go Apple, man.
It was an older. It was an older battery pack, so I don't have it anymore. I need new luggage though.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Oh my God. Is your clothes and stuff okay, or did it just
No, I
burn
left
everything?
everything there. It burned up. I had I bought 2 books. Jeff Barnes was at the
Oh yeah.
and I bought 2 books, and those burned up.
Well, I'm sure if you contact Jeff and tell him, I'm sure he will send you new books.
He said he's coming to Indy. I'll see him in Indy. We'll see. But the only thing I saved were my 3 Figment magnets and my notes from the festival. Everything else.
Oh my gosh.
I was only there for half a day or a day and a half, so I didn't have much. But
Oh, your poor sport coat caught on fire.
yeah, the one you made me wear. Yeah.
That's what happens when you dress up.
Oh, I'm so
I was
sorry.
planning on going with just a toothbrush and cash, and you made me take sport coat and black
Oh,
and
no.
iron.
No.
Holy
I'm sorry.
cow. All right, so let's get on this here real quick because Pam's texting. She wants me to meet. Okay, so here we go. 1438. Here we go. Welcome to episode 1438 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the great agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. You say free dining, I go. And boom, I'm like, yeah. Oh, a little sun and fun. Let's do it. So it's been a fun week. So thanks to everybody for your support. And if you need a trip, hey, themagicforless.com. But let's talk about the latest festival happening down at Epcot. It is festival time again. We're talking Festival of the Arts, which is a kind of a sleeper hit now. People love this one. And judging from the crowds that I saw on social media
Mhm.
this past weekend, woo, it is popular. It's getting them in there. So we're going to have a fun discussion today. Joining me today from a DisneyWorldAfterAll.com, touringplans.com, and the Mouse for Less. And I believe she's headed down this weekend right now. We have Ricky. What's up, Ricky?
I am. I leave tonight as we speak to head down to see the Festival of the Arts for the first time ever. And I'm so excited to finally catch this festival. It has been on my bucket list for 2 years. So I'm so excited to be able to do that. See all the new stuff with the Mickey and Minnie Surprise Celebration, the new Incredibles stuff, to see just everything that's going on. Oh, there's the Hakuna Matata, can't even say it. Hakuna Matata time dance party at Animal Kingdom that I'm going to be catching too. And yes, I'm going to do all of this in the course of 48 hours. So good luck to me. And if you want to see me running around like a chicken with my head cut off, please follow along with the Be Our Guest podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Or you can follow my stuff too, but most of the stuff is going to go on both. So yeah, it just depends on what you want to see. So there's going to be lots of content as well. Also, you can follow along with the Mouse for Less too, because I'll be posting content there too. So
I will be following in all locations because I am, you know what? But I get hungry every time I see those like colored Pop-Tart things.
I know. I'm excited. I'm so excited. I've already kind of established, and I kind of told Brian, I was like, be prepared for the credit card bill when I get back, because I mean, I'm going to be trying all the food. And also, can I just say, Jack Jack's cookie num nums, and I'm so excited about them. I can't even tell you how excited I am about those stupid cookies.
Those things could be illegal in 17 countries, but I'm not sure. But we'll find out. All right. Also joining us, we have the co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel, Pam Forrester. Pam, maybe in Florida right now. It depends how cold it's been. The remainder
Come
of
join me, Pam.
I know. I'm thinking about it. I'm very, very focused on this. But anyways, yeah, I know.
Let's go.
And by the way, Jack Num Num cookies were actually out in Disneyland. So they were there, and it's
you like them?
Just a cookie. It's just a cookie. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I didn't see the appeal. Like, I saw them. I was actually at the stand in line, and then I said to him, "This is just a cookie, right?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay."
Your point.
Yeah.
It's a warm, delicious cookie. You can't go any wrong. You can't go wrong with that.
You know what, Ricky? Here's something I'm going to tell you. Like at Costco, if you want to, like Nestle or whatever sells like a tub of the cookie stuff, and you can like scoop out one and just like make a couple if you want to.
I mean,
you could have a warm cookie anytime you wanted. So
I could.
So,
That's true.
Speaking of Full House and Nestle, I got to send a shout out. We were in Indy last weekend for the Jam Fest Super National Cheerleading Championships, which is, I am not kidding. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. There had to have been 10,000 cheerleaders there, and I am not exaggerating. There are 5 stages going on simultaneously, music like for 40 straight hours. Just my eyes were burning from the hairspray. I am not making that up. Like, I went to one of the halls. I was like, "Pam, I think I'm having an allergic reaction. My eyes are swelling up." She's like, "It's hairspray and perfume." I'm like, "What?" So you're there for like 48 straight hours. Your kid dances for two dances, total 6 minutes. It was nuts. So you get into it. Mallory's team won the national championships. I'm really excited for her, proud of her. Thanks everybody for the shout outs. It was awesome. But speaking of, they have a mall attached to the convention center in Indianapolis. Okay, it's where they had Super Bowl years ago. And there's actually a great mall, like it physically attached to the convention center. So we go over there. Not only do they have a Permanente Brothers, where I finally got my first sandwich that Pam always talked about. Awesome. Fries and slaw on the sandwich itself, and I got a side of tater tots with it. So I love that. But also there is a store. So in the one corner of the food court, listen to this. Talk about the triple play. They had an Auntie Anne's pretzels,
Nice.
Cinnabon, and a
Nice.
Nestle Toll House cookie store.
Oh,
And holy God, I love Indianapolis. You can have your Festival of the Arts. I will do the Center Mall.
the Indianapolis Mall food court tour.
Beautiful. It was awesome. Anyway, we have a special guest today joining us. Fortunately, he is still with us. Just scary stuff. So Chef Todd, if you follow him on Instagram, joining us today. Todd, thanks for coming on the show.
We're glad
Hi,
you're
guys.
here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Literally.
Glad to be here. Really, literally glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks. So, seriously though, you had a dangerous situation happen after your trip, getting ready to fly back to St. Louis from Orlando International with an external battery. You saved your notes, and most importantly, you saved those Figment annual pass holder magnets.
Right.
Soon to be collector's items. But what happened there? We're glad you're safe, but external battery mishap, right?
No, I was sitting at the bar just getting ready to do some work, do some writing, and the server came up behind me and said, "Hey, your bag's on fire." And I thought he was joking, and I ignored him. And he said, "Sir, your bag's on fire." And I turned around and it was smoking, so I didn't know what to do. You're at an airport and your bag starts smoking. All of a sudden, you're suspicious. In a split second, I thought if I either run away from it or deal with it. I didn't know what to do. So I just zipped everything open, dumped it all out, and asked for some water and put it out. I told him immediately to call TSA and fire department and police. I wanted everybody there because I wanted them to know it wasn't my fault. So
Right. Yeah.
that was scary, but all's well that ends well. But if it would have happened just an hour later, it could have been on the plane, and man, it could have been really scary.
Yeah, thank goodness it happened there.
So good timing, and I'm here. So I saved my notes and I saved my magnets, so everything's good.
That's all that matters.
I guess.
Not the sports coat. Not the sports coat.
I'm in the market for a carry-on bag and a sport coat.
So we will take donations at the end of today's show.
Fund me, maybe.
Sport coat. So you were down there for Festival of the Arts opening weekend. Again, I was watching from afar on social media because, again, this has me intrigued. Now I'm excited. It'll be going on during Princess Weekend, which I get to go down in 4 weeks. So I get to check that out. Because I'm not really an artsy person, but it seems like it's much more than just folks that enjoy going to musicals or just folks that are into, visual arts. It seems like, shoot, you showed a lot of great food and I'm into food. So sign me up. So Todd, give us your initial impressions on the Festival of the Arts last weekend.
Oh, it's fun. It's its third year. I've been to every opening day. There is some artwork set up all around the World Showcase and various booths around the promenade, mostly Disney art, some paintings, sculptures, different things like that. Not really like high-end things, but just general Disney art. There's a lot of shows, like you talked about, the Broadway show at the American Adventure Amphitheater has a Broadway series show there almost every night. So a lot of entertainment there. There's an animation academy, like the old one from Hollywood Studios. They put that on in the Odyssey Center right on the lake there by Test Track. It's kind of fun. So it's not just food. There's a lot to do, a whole lot to do.
So you were there the first weekend, and the one thing we've learned over the years with Epcot, with Flower and Garden, Food and Wine, and now Festival of the Arts, is that the festivals really do bring out the locals. So because that's a time where they can see Epcot, and it's a limited time run. You have a lot of things going on that you don't get the other times of the year. So were the crowds as bad as it looked on social media? What'd you think about that?
Not Friday. The Festival of the Holidays opened on a Sunday, and it was the Sunday before Thanksgiving. So I think the combination of the locals and then everybody arriving for their week-long trip for Thanksgiving made that one a really packed opening day, made it really difficult. This one opened on a Friday, and it wasn't too bad. By the time I left at 3 o'clock, it was getting busy, but not crazy. So we were able to take care of everything we needed. I wasn't there during the weekend, so I can't speak to that, but weekends are definitely more busy at all the festivals.
Yeah, they are. Best advice is if you can go, just try to think when are people going to have the free time to go. Try to work around that within the festival's parameters, and you'll probably have a much better experience when you're going to something like this. Where if your goal is to go to the what do they call it? Not the booths, but what do they call them? They call them the
outdoor kitchens is what they call them.
Yeah. So if you want to do that kind of stuff, obviously zig when everybody else is zagging. So give us some highlights. So you're back, you got to spend, a short amount of time, but you did a ton. What were the winners of the festival and what were the losers as far as first weekend?
Well, I think I'm going to give you my top 5 countries this time. Okay. I'll start with number 5. France did a good job this year. They had a salmon terrine. It's a little like a salmon mousse. It was wrapped in tomatoes and zucchini and poached, and it was served with a little piece of puff pastry that was really nice. And they also did a little cute little bread bowl with brie cheese inside, kind of like a fondue dip, a little small version of the one that was in Germany at the last festival. A little bit better, a little bit smaller, and kind of cute. Both of those were good. Next country in line is Mexico. They did an excellent job this year. Maybe my favorite dish of the festival was the sopes, which is a corn masa, fried and topped with braised ancho chili braised pork. Maybe my best. That's something right up Mike's alley, I think.
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Real quick, Todd, where can people follow you? You can see all the pictures on Instagram. What's your Instagram account? Because there's great pictures there. With today's show. Yeah,
I can look at pictures while you're listening. Chef Todd 55 has all the pictures. I got about 30 pictures from this last festival. I didn't do any dessert. I only did a couple desserts this time. Again, I just don't have the time. But I just did the savories.
Yeah, there's so much food, like actual food to get, that there's no room for dessert. Yeah,
I had a helper this time, which helped.
That's good.
I also share. It's kind of weird, but I share with strangers. So we'll go to a table, and I'll say, "I'm just going to take a bite of this. Would you like the rest?" And they're usually like, "Okay,
sure, okay,
please work though, right?"
So basically, what you're saying is follow Chef Todd around these festivals, and you'll get basically.
So March 6th, about 11 o'clock, I'll be at the I'm sorry, at France. So
so don't just follow him on Instagram. Physically follow him.
Literally follow him.
Todd, when are you going down again next? I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, opening day for Flower and Garden. I'll be there at 11 o'clock.
Okay, awesome. We'll be there.
Got it.
You know what,
I need the help.
I will say, we learned at Marathon Sunday that it's sometimes it's hard to give away food and beverage at a theme park, because we did it though. Now we made it successful because what was happening is Scott was there cheering for the full marathon. We were at Mexico buying frozen margaritas for the lizards as they were coming by. But what he was doing, he gets zealous. He gets excited about things. He was buying them too quickly and in too large of quantities, so they were like melting. So we didn't want to lose the margarita, so we just stand there and say, "Who needs a margarita for the finish line?" Some people would look at us like we are crazy, and some
Yeah.
people like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Yes. And they would take it and just like they would skip all the way to the finish line. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting situation. So you know what? Also, Todd, I was following, and I will say there was a St. Louis shout out in one of the items in an unexpected place, which I'm sure you're going to get to probably in your top 5. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
It looked good.
Yes, yeah, well, St. Louis shout out. But next, you're gonna be surprised with my number one. Next is Morocco. They had a spiced ground beef with hummus and like a little parfait with some pita chips. Ironically, that was one of my least favorites in 2017, but one of my favorites this year. It was really nicely done.
What do you think made it different than the 2017 version?
I think the first time, the problem with opening day is it's hard to judge all the dishes because sometimes they just fail because they just do because it's their first crack at it.
Right.
And I think the beef was underseasoned last year or 2 years ago, and the hummus was the same, and it just wasn't any good. But this time they stepped it up, got nice spicy beef, just got it fixed. And Disney's good at that. They listen to people, and I think they follow social media, not necessarily me, but they see when people are complaining about things out there, and they they'll make their adjustments. So I think they're good about that.
Good to know.
They also had a flatbread there, which was good. They used the same bread as the as last festival that had kefta on it. This time it had olives and artichokes, some mozzarella cheese, and a little feta. Really nicely done. Enjoyed that quite a bit. That's a good shareable. We broke it into a couple pieces and shared that pretty easily too. Morocco, it seems like they always step it up. They do a good job consistently in every festival.
Well, they do a good job in their, food in general. I mean, everybody loves Campaign Cafe, and so I completely.
Yeah, they do a great job. Their food's great. Number 2 was Germany. They had both these dishes I thought probably belonged in France by the way they were prepared, but they were both delicious. One was a braised short rib with a red wine reduction.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, and it was not expensive at all. I couldn't believe it. It was really good value, and it was really nicely done. And a good portion, $7 maybe. None of the prices were too bad.
That's not bad at all.
They also did a nice piece of fish called corvina, which is one of my favorite fish. It's like a white sea bass type of fish, and that was served with a ratatouille. Again, that's a French dish, so I was surprised it was there, but it was pretty good. Needed a little seasoning on the fish, but I liked it quite a bit.
It's good to know.
You guys want to guess the number 1 country this year?
Well, I was thinking it was Italy from your
It is Italy.
Italy?
Yeah.
I know.
I was following closely. I was paying attention.
I've been complaining about them for years, and in the last 2 festivals, they really did a good job. They had a little goat cheese fritters, which I like quite a bit. They were served with some roasted beets. I don't know if you guys like beets or not, but it was a cute little dish. And,
That's right.
and then the number 1 dish of the festival, probably my number 1, were those St. Louis style ribs.
Oh.
The ribs are the cut is a St. Louis style. It's just a little meatier than a baby back rib, and they were roasted and glazed with a balsamic glaze, kind of a sweet and sour kind of glaze. But the best part of the dish was the sweet potato fries. They were awesome. They were skinny and crispy, and they were like, they came out hot out of that little kitchen. You usually don't get things, perfectly crispy and hot, and they were awesome. And they really, really did a good job. So, yay to Italy, finally. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Right?
Yay, Italy.
It just shows that you get it St. Louis style, you get a little bit more meat on your ribs.
That's right.
That's true, though. It's a bigger cut. It's a little more fatty, but it's a little more meaty, too. I tend to like them.
I had no idea. Yeah, I'm telling you, those fries looked awesome. And I'm not a person who enjoys like sweet potato fries. Typically, I'd rather have like, I don't know, I call them fast, steady, skinny fries. Regular fries. But yeah, those look good.
Well, sweet potato fries are never crispy. I don't care. You get 1 minute to eat them, and then they're not crispy.
Agreed. I would agree with that. Yeah.
I don't know what they did, but they were really tasty. I hope they use them again somewhere. Anywhere, I'd eat them again.
Awesome.
So you mentioned that the prices seem to kind of fall in line with the other festivals. You didn't see like a marked increase in anything this time around.
Did not. Everything was reasonable. There was one dish in China. It was $10.75, which was really odd. It just stood out. And the bad news is it was terrible. 2 pieces of shrimp.
So don't get the $10.75 dish. Is basically
it's called what's it called here? It's called you'll remember this. It's called the Dragon and Phoenix.
Okay, I will not be getting that.
Yeah, 2 little shrimp and a little bit of noodles, and it was $10.75. I thought that's kind of a ripoff, even for Disney.
Yikes!
That stood out as a no go. So what else did I not like? Nothing really bad. Again, opening day is tough. Some of the sometimes it takes a day or 2 to correct the seasonings, get things lined up, and these dishes are kind of artistic because it's Festival of the Arts. So the plating took a little time on some of them. There's a charcuterie board in Canada that's gorgeous. It would, you could plate it at a restaurant. It looks so nice. But I watched the kid putting it together with tweezers. I'm like, man, this is going to be tough.
Holy cow!
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
It was.
How, because they are so intricate with some of those dishes, how were the wait times to get your food a little more delayed? I have heard that about the Festival of the Arts.
It does, and that's unfortunate. And it once you get it, it's gorgeous, and it's it takes a great picture. But the lines can back up even when I was there first thing, and they're just learning, and they'll fix things, and they always do. But a kid with a culinary student with tweezers putting 5 flowers on each plate, it's just not the way it's not fast food. It's going to have to be adjusted, but they'll figure it out.
Okay.
So if some bozo rolls up like me and orders that plate that this guy's been tweezing and decorating and make it look so nice, plating it, and doesn't take a picture before he starts scarfing down the food, I mean, is that like a crime against humanity or what? I mean, it seems like it would be. I would be fired up if I was that kid. I'm like, sir,
take a picture. I put those on with tweezers.
Tweezers, right? No, I don't think they would be. As long as you take it around the corner and eat it first, I think it'd be okay.
It just seems like it's a crime to take a bite out of something. Like it's like a wedding cake or something.
Yeah, some of them look pretty nice, and they do a good job with the presentation of most of them. And they do travel well. I was afraid when I first went to this festival that some of the platings were going to be so extravagant and so tall that they weren't going to travel well in the 6-inch little plate that you have. But they seem to all do that pretty well. Another one of the dishes I liked was in Japan. It was like a sushi donut. It was like a donut-shaped rice, which was topped with all the the fresh raw fish, the tuna and salmon and shrimp, and that was really cute. Nicely done there. Japan always does a good job. What else? The charcuterie in Canada was good. Canada had a risotto this year, which was one of my favorites last year, but they didn't repeat it this time. Tough presentation. It just wasn't right. Hopefully they'll correct it, but it just wasn't right this time.
Were there a lot of a lot of these festivals have repeats, especially because people like a dish, that kind of thing. Were there a lot of repeats at this year's festival, or does it seem like because it focuses on kind of the artistic side of things, did they kind of create new dishes this year to kind of coincide with the fact that it's kind of an artsy festival?
Yes and no. It was about the same as most festivals as far as repeats and new items. There was quite a few that were the same, but the new ones were spread out throughout the kitchen. So each kitchen, not every kitchen had something new, but they were spread out quite a bit. In the Odyssey Center, they do a few different items every year, but they change up. Like they do a trio of cronuts, savory cronuts with like a different topping on each one, and they change those toppings out every year. They also do an hors d'oeuvre tray with a trio on that, and they change those toppings out every year. So the set's the same, but the toppings are different. And but some of the regulars did return for sure. But there was enough new there to make everybody happy, both sides.
Good to know.
So Tom, let me ask you a question about the cronut, because again, I have never had a cronut in my life, and I did have one over Marathon weekend because I saw Mike Bankhead post a picture. He was having a couple, and Ricky has always raved about these cronuts, and they're like the thing. And so first of all, I noticed when I was down there for Marathon weekend, now this is just like the regular cronut that you get any time of the year, but they used to be back at that stand kind of as you headed towards Canada in World Showcase. They're not offered anymore. Yeah, Refresh Report. Now they're offered over at that little shack by Test Track. That's where you got to get them. So I ordered one, and it was like the most disappointing thing in the world to me. I don't know if are they supposed, because I was like, man, everybody raves about these things. I mean, what could be wrong? It's like sugar in a donut and a bagel. I don't know what it is, but it's all good. It was like super crunchy. I was expecting it to taste like a donut. Like it's not. I was wondering if mine was like burnt or overcooked. I mean, are they supposed to be kind of like soft at all, or are they supposed to be like really, really
They're
crunchy?
fried. They're fried. They're supposed to be pretty. I mean, they shouldn't be like. I mean, you should be able to eat it, but they got a crisp to them.
Okay.
It's a croissant. It's really a croissant. That's, I mean, basically fried like a donut. So that's, if you like croissants, you'll like a croissant donut because it's made out of the same kind of ingredients. And I love croissants, so add some cinnamon and sugar on top of that, and it's good to go.
Yeah,
but
Pretty good. I like them.
But it was there was just no like gooiness to it or anything like that. It was like pretty solid the whole way through.
They're different, and they're not for everybody, but they're okay. I mean, a lot of the things you hear over the years, you got to get this, you got to get that. Then you finally get it, you're like, oh yeah, that was okay. But I think that's one of the first
things that happened to me. I'm like, how do I not love this thing? Like everybody loves the cronut, and I'm like, it's got to be me, man. It's got to be me. I don't know why. And
I
it's
hate
all
to say it, I'm that way with Dole Whips.
I'm the same way. Dole Whip. I'm
I
like,
mean, it's
don't
okay.
like Dole Whip. I really
I
don't
know.
like it.
I could take it or leave it. I'd rather have popcorn or pretzels or anything other than the Dole
Yeah,
Whip, actually.
It's good on the pineapple upside down cake. Have you tried that yet?
I've tried the
Yes,
vanilla
that's pretty
on the
good.
pineapple upside down cake, which that's
what
good.
I mean. The Dole Whip on the pineapple upside down cake. That's
No,
okay.
I've done the vanilla Dole Whip on
Oh,
the
okay.
pineapple upside down cake because you can do vanilla or
Oh,
pineapple, and I do
know that.
vanilla Dole Whip on the pineapple upside down cake. It's really good.
the thing
Yeah,
about
there's,
Dole
those,
Whips
there's
too
always those
nowadays
things out there that you have to be good, but you get them, you're like, it's just okay.
That's right. Everyone
Great.
has a different palate. So
Well, plus, like 10 years ago, the Dole Whip, you could only get Walter's
That's
World,
true.
That's
Hawaii.
true.
Not like I
That's
just saw a
true.
post on Instagram like they're going to have them at our Six Flags. They have them
They
at
have
our
them at Menchie's down the street here all the time. Yeah, yeah.
It's not quite
Right.
as special, but I know they're a cult favorite. So, all right, Todd. So, what else, folks heading out to the festival? What do they need to not miss, or tips for enjoying the festival to its fullest?
Well, they open at 11 this year. This festival. The holidays opened at 12, so it made things a little different. But this one opens at 11. So my tip is always to start at the back. So we waited at the rope between France and Morocco, and as soon as the rope dropped, we hit all the kitchens there, which made our time go pretty quickly. We were able to hit just about everything before the crowds got back there. So I definitely recommend that. Having a partner is helpful if you want to eat as much food as I did. So we kind of leapfrog. I just gave her a gift card and I said, here, you go here. I'll be behind you. We'll meet at the next one. We just leapfrogged the whole way. And actually we were done by 2:30. We got it all done pretty quickly and I made my flight. But
That's awesome.
yeah, and I don't recommend the power eating necessarily, but there are some tips just to save time waiting in lines. The kitchens in the promenade area tend to crowd up early, but disperse in the early afternoon. So they'll be busy early, but they will get a little quieter in like the 2, 3, 4 o'clock range, and then start getting busy again, in the evenings. So if you want to hit those, it's middle of the day is a good time for that.
Cool.
Good tip.
It sounds awesome. So I want to get into real quick before we run out of time, and I want to ask Ricky at the end like what she's looking forward to, because now she's seen Todd's pictures, heard Todd, but I want to see what you're looking forward to for this weekend. But in between here, Todd, you went to a very special event over at Give Kids World Village. And you do clean up very nicely. I noticed.
Oh, I had to bring a razor too. That's another thing.
Looking good, man. Looking good. So, power eating and dressing up on one trip, man, and it was only a few hours. So, good stuff. So, tell us about the event and what it was all about, because it was just good to see you over there.
Oh, it's great to be there. I'd never been there before. I've done a lot of work with them with you guys, but had never actually been there, and it was neat to see. I was glad I finally got to see it. It was nighttime, but I didn't get to see everything. But I would definitely want to get back during the day and spend some time there and do some volunteering. But the event was Lee Cockrell and his son were up on stage with Jeff Barnes, who was the moderator. And they just talked for a couple hours just about Disney magic or Lee Cockrell's a speaker now, and he writes books about, making magic in the business world. And they asked him a couple nice questions, and he talked about, his time in Disney and his time after Disney and what he's doing, and it was pretty inspirational. They're neat people. I'd never heard of them or met them before, obviously, but they were fun to listen to. They did a great job and very inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ricky, you kind of that event was like they let you know about it, and you kind of helped Ty get over there. Like you kind of arranged that stuff. And Dan was on the show, right, for the 12-hour live show. That was our guest. He was, because he had me just fired up. Like he talked about going from a parking attendant to like making these huge decisions within the parks.
Yeah.
And like I just remember that day, I was like ready to just. I'm sure Todd, you probably felt the same, like being at an event like that in person, because just speaking with him over Skype for the 12-hour live show, I was like, the interview was over and I'm like, I got to go, man. I got to go do something big. Like I got to make something happen here,
Well, his dad was Lee Cockrell. That helped, but he started at the bottom. I mean, he was, like you said, he was valet at Parking Cars at Hollywood Studios, I think was his first gig. And he ends up, in charge of Epcot and also Animal Kingdom and I think Hollywood Studios. Mm-hmm. It's, quite a ride. And just because and I don't think it was all because of his dad. I don't think Disney does it that way.
He got his job first, and then Lee got the job afterwards.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Okay, well, I didn't know.
That's kind of an interesting thing. I actually, for those who don't know, Dan has a podcast. I know, we're just talking about another podcast. But if you are at all curious about leadership skills or anything like that, that's what this podcast is about. He talks about kind of the skills that he's learned throughout the years being in charge of the Magic Kingdom, and what you can do. He gives little life lessons about what you can do to take those same skills that he took from the Magic Kingdom and use them in your own daily life. So I think it's a really great podcast if you are looking for something to kind of help, motivate you for leadership skills too, because that's kind of what he's doing now as he's moved forward in his retirement. So, and then Lee does kind of the same thing. He also does kind of leadership skills as well. I know he does a podcast too, and he talks about kind of obviously the things that are good to have to be able to further your career or even life. I mean, it doesn't just have to be career goals. It can be life goals too, which is big. And I think that that's probably something that they talked about a lot at that Give Kids the World event, wouldn't you say?
No, it was great. It was business related, but like you said, it was life skills that are that they teach, and those are really what you need in your life and with business. I mean, you treat people. It teaches you how to treat people like the right way, and that's how you eventually get ahead in business, is by treating people how they want to be, they need to be treated. And that was pretty much the theme of the whole night.
Was there sort of a story that really kind of stood out to you that they told throughout the event, or anything like
gosh. One of the guests asked that question at the end to Dan, and I'm trying to think of what his story was. But there were I wrote down so many notes because I just wrote down so many notes because every time they said something, it was like a quote from a book, and maybe it was, but it was like a quote. It was like, it should be on a plaque somewhere. So I was just scribbling. I got so much information. I'm going to give it all. I'm going to put it all on the blog. But
That's great.
It was just there was so much there. I just had to write it all down. Otherwise, I was never going to remember it.
Awesome.
I love it.
And
That.
They're very, very quotable. They're very.
That's
quotable.
a good segue too, because there is going to be a blog article that Todd will be writing for us on the Mouse for Less. So if you want to kind of hear his experience about going to this event and what he learned from the event as well, please head over to the Mouse for Less blog. The article will probably go up in about a week or two, hopefully. It depends on when you get it published. But yeah, so hopefully look for it here within the next couple weeks.
I hope to get it to you before you leave town tonight.
That sounds good. Yeah. So that's good. So, but I think that we can all gain something from what he kind of, all these quotable things that I'm sure are going to be in this article.
No, most definitely. I mean, they wrote the article for me. It's just, like I said, I've got pages and pages of things that they said, and you hear it, and you're like, wow, that's just, it's so simple, but it's true, and that's,
yeah,
it was neat. Thank you for sending me there.
Thank you, Kids the World. Seriously, that was an amazing thing that they offered to us, and so I wanted to make sure that I had somebody there who I knew would appreciate it. So I'm appreciative of you going. So
my pleasure. They do have a bunch coming up. I talked to Jessica there, and they do have a bunch coming up. So
that's good. That's good.
Keep in touch with them.
And Ricky, by the way, everybody has a podcast. So
it's funny. I do make that, it's kind of interesting because when we first started this podcast, I would always, I'd always talk about it, and I'd be like, okay, the first question I'd ask is, do you know what a podcast is? And most of the time the answer would be no. And now when I ask that question, they're like, yeah, I know what podcasts are. I'm like, okay, all right, we've got past the first step now.
That's right. Single-handedly changing the world. Everybody's got a show now, so it's great.
Yes, everybody does have one.
Great hobby. Okay, so before we get out of here, go ahead, Todd.
No, I was going to ask, does Lee have a podcast?
I believe he
because he seems really low tech. I mean, he
does, but someone helps him with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he's great. He's old school for sure.
Someone helps Dan with his too. I know that too. So yeah.
No, I'd love to listen to him. That's why I asked. But he had as a matter of fact, in his back pocket, he had his little day planner. He pulled out.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah. That's cute.
Hey man, that's my people right there.
I agree, man. I was writing. Ricky told me to download the app, the Notes app, and I just hand wrote everything. It was just as fast, and it got me into it. And I don't think I did it right anyway. So
that's all right. That's great. You got content. That's all better.
But see, Ricky might have been right. You might have lost your notes in the fire, man. That was a close call, and there's no backup.
Right.
Well, you got a backup. It's true. I was quick thinking. I split second decision. Do I save? What do I save? And I can save the right stuff.
Todd, you know what you need to get? A rocket book. It is. It is a notebook. You can write into it, but then down at the bottom you scan it, and it sends it wherever you want it to go. And then when you're done, you take the whole thing and you put it in the microwave. All the ink's gone, and you
No
way!
Where has this been all my life?
Oh my
go to Amazon and get one.
What's it called?
It's called a rocket book.
That's like space age. What is this?
It's sweet.
Oh my god!
Remember, when you go to Amazon, remember BeOurGuestPodcast.com/Amazon.
I was going to plug that.
No, you actually, so you set up a little thing for yourself. You can send actually the pages to different things based on what category you've categorized that page as. But so it could go to like your drop.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Well, there. See, I had a little something.
There you go. That's why last week we called her the legend, and that is why, because she has all the.
She is a legend. Wow.
That's
all
awesome.
right. We're going to put a bow on the show, but you're heading down for this weekend. You're going to provide a lot of content, but judging on what you saw, so far, we've seen a lot of stuff. We've seen, like, I keep joking about the Pop-Tarts that you color, but we've seen the paint by number. We've seen all the foods from Todd, lots of events going on. What are the top things you want to get out of this weekend that not just for content, but just like that is your jam? What are you looking forward to?
Yeah. So, I mean, everybody asks you always hear the question of, oh, you go down to Disney so much. Aren't you bored with it? Aren't you tired of it? Whatever. And even with how much I go down, like, because I go down, I mean, I sound spoiled, but I go down about every other month or so if I can, swing it. So it does help having a brother who lives down in Orlando. I will say that part's nice. So, the thing is like, I'm actually really excited about going down there this weekend. Like, I'm super, super excited. So, even though I was literally just there at Christmas, I'm so excited about this weekend. I'm excited about seeing the Festival of the Arts for the first time ever. I mean, really, hands down, that's what made me want to take this short little weekend trip, because I wanted to finally see the Festival of the Arts, because I've heard about it for the past 2 years. And I've always been like, that sounds amazing. They have all these seminars that you can sit in on, although I am disappointed to see there's not as many seminars this year. They kind of cut them down a little bit. I think before they had like 3 a day, and now they only have like 1 a day. So that's kind of a bummer. But overall, I still think that I was looking at the list of seminars that they have. And you can check out the Mouse for Less, because I did put them all in on the Mouse for Less, so you can see what kind of things that they're offering for each day of your potential trip. So I think on the day that I'm there, there's a watermelon carving thing, and I was like, okay, I can learn how to carve watermelon. That sounds interesting. Like, it's weird.
With
what?
a chainsaw.
Yeah, no chainsaw.
Hey, Gallagher.
It's just,
exactly.
yeah, exactly. It's just like weird life skills that you didn't know that you needed, but like when you sit down and learn. Actually, I think another one that's going to be there that's really interesting while I'm there that weekend is it's the music of, I think it's John Williams, and like a composer takes a look at the music from John Williams and kind of breaks it down a little bit, which is kind of interesting as well. So those are the things that really interest me about the Festival of the Arts. I'm really excited about seeing the On Broadway series that they have. Being a musical theater kid, that's something that's really interesting to me. So the Festival of the Arts is really the one thing I'm excited about. Of course, the food. I mean, hello, I am so excited to try all that food that they have. The pictures, they just are making me drool. So I'm so excited about that. I really am excited about seeing the new Mickey and Minnie surprise celebration stuff. They seem to have added some cute new things with the Move It, Shake It, Mouse Could Dance at Street Party, which I've been kind of bored by those street parties in the past, but they have Clarice, who is Chippendale's girlfriend, as part of the street party right now, and I'm all in just for that. Like, I'm like, oh, seriously, she's not been in anything in the United States, so I'm so excited.
Wait. I thought Clarice was the cow.
No, that's Clarabelle.
Clarabelle. Okay, yeah.
Clarabelle
Cow.
Yes.
In the marathon.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, so she's out, and you've got Mickey and Minnie dressed in their birthday finest, which I will have to take my picture with Mickey and Minnie. So there's just a lot of, I think that I'm really excited about the little things that I'm going to get to experience. And, like I said, it's not all big things. I literally haven't made a single fast pass. Granted, we are recording this a little bit early, but I haven't made a fast pass for this weekend yet. I don't know what I want to do. And so I'm kind of like, maybe I'll play it by ear and make those fast passes the night before, or whatever. So it really is. I'm super excited to see kind of the newer stuff that those things that are rolling out just for, you know, a limited time, because most of these things are only taking place, I think, till like September 30th. So that, you know, that's something to keep in mind too. So I'm really excited about this weekend.
And is there a sipper or something you want to? The Mickey sipper? Is that
yes.
a park?
Oh my God, I have lost my mind about this Mickey sipper. Yes, it is adorable. It is Mickey Mouse, and it's the pie-eyed Mickey Mouse that's right now, and he's got a little bow tie on, and he's got a birthday, you know, hat on, and I'm dying over this Mickey Mouse sipper. And eBay pirates, you stay away. Although I think that Cheryl Perlmutter nicely got me one, so that's good too. So I may get another one as an auction item for Give Kids the World for our live show. So I want to. Hopefully they will still have some, so I can get one for that, because I really think that would be awesome to have for the Give Kids the World for the live show this year. So yeah.
Can I ask you one favor while you're there? One favor.
Yes.
Do you like lobster?
Yes.
Okay. Well, at the Taste Track, they have a lobster macaroni and cheese in a cone.
Oh.
Which they were out when I was there. I got there like at 1 o'clock, and they were already out for some reason.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing.
I need a picture and a review.
Look, Chef Todd's putting you to work. Put you to work.
No, yes, I'm kidding, but try it. It looks really good.
I think I can handle that. I will see what I can do for you.
I'm going to skip the Princess Half Marathon to eat that thing. I might just go over to forget the race. Just head over to Epcot.
Yeah, right.
Well, good. I can't believe they were out. And I met a friend. I met a friend there later that day, or about midday, and she asked where to go. I sent her over to Italy to get the ribs, and she texted me about 5 o'clock and said they're out of ribs.
Wow.
That's so odd. I don't understand.
I think this weekend was a lot busier than they thought it would be. I'm just going to be perfectly honest.
This is still Friday, Ricky. I don't know what. I mean, this is 5 hours into the festival. I mean, it's kind of odd.
I really think this weekend took them by surprise.
It might have.
Yeah, I think it did.
So then they sent a kid over to Harambe Market or Flame Tree and got some
or better yet, Morimoto. They got there.
Back in the back way. No, Todd, thank you so much. It sounds like a great festival. Again, this is an opportunity, I think, the way I see it, because like I said, I'm not really I don't go see Broadway shows. I'm semi into music, but not heavily. The food I like eating, but this sounds like something that's right up my alley, because it's experiential, where you get a taste of things, not just the food, but you get some visual arts, some music and stuff like that, and kind of all combined. And Ricky, like the paint by number, the big mural.
Oh,
I think you see people doing it, and I think you're just dragged in, even if you're not somebody that likes to paint or anything like that. It's like, I just want to be
square. I have zero artistic skill, and I can paint a square, so I'm all in.
You said it's worth doing.
Yeah. So Pam, real quick before we get out of here, what excites you about the festival that you've seen so far?
So I just remember, like Todd was mentioning, the kind of artistic flair that all these plates took. There's so many festivals at Epcot, but this one in particular, the dishes we got, particularly at the deconstructed dish, they looked like works of art. They truly, truly did. And it was just incredible. We saw the exact same thing, Todd. They were putting things on the plate with tweezers. And I often thought to myself, oh my gosh, how long is this going to last? But at 7:30, they're like, okay, whatever. They're just putting stuff on, right? Yeah. You don't get any flowers.
No, you just get a dust, you just sprinkle them on.
Yeah. That's right. But it's a great opportunity. I love the fact that they do weave some art into it. You can sort of have your picture taken, as you're a piece of the artwork. There's some famous pieces of art that you get to step in and become a part of. And I think that's a great memory for lots of families. So, and the weather is usually beautiful during this festival, which is another thing, like with our weather being so horrible. I think that's what I like. I mean, January and February, that's when I want to get away. I'm thinking about it, Ricky. I'm really thinking about it.
Well, and I would say too, this is probably the festival where it is 100% acceptable to take pictures of your food. Now, I know a lot of people do it at Walt Disney World. I mean, we are the worst about it. The people talking right here, we all do it. But don't eat that. Whoa, we haven't got a picture. We got to get the light. We got to, we do all that. But I would imagine there's a lot of that going on at this festival.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of bloggers there Friday for sure.
Oh man, I bet you couldn't shake a stick without hitting 6.
Yeah, it was fun. There was a lot of people, a lot of cameras, a lot of a lot of notepads, a lot of lighting. It was typical opening day, that's for sure.
You see somebody just going up there to order something because they're hungry, man. What are they thinking? What are you doing? Get out of the way. You're not just supposed to eat your food. No, it sounds like
I took a picture, and somebody saw my picture and said there was some famous couple in the background, like the WDW couple or something. I guess they have a YouTube channel. I don't know who they are, but they said, "Oh, that's who that is." I don't even know who that is, but they're I guess they're famous, but I don't know who they are.
You're throwing a shadow on my rib from Italy. Get out of the way.
That's what they say about us too. Don't worry
I'm
about
sure
it.
they do. I'm sure they do.
They're famous. I don't know.
Whatever. All right. Well, Todd, hey, thanks for coming on the show, and
my
we
pleasure.
appreciate it, and I'm glad everything's safe with the external battery.
But yeah, I'm in the market for a new one, that's for sure.
We'll get you one. All right.
The same one that you had before.
I remember, fortunately, about 50 people said, "What kind was it?" I want to throw mine away. I finally remembered. It was pocket juice, so
Yeah, what I always say with external batteries, go with Anchor. You can't miss.
Yep, that's what I got.
High quality and a good price. All right. Well, hey, that's going to do it for today's show. Don't forget, today's show brought to you by the great folks over at the Magic for Less Travel. You want to head down to the Festival of the Arts, or maybe head down during the summer, early fall. There's, of course, free dining July 5th through September 30th. Check-ins for select resorts. Of course, there's always exclusions. For some reason, movies isn't in there. I don't know. Movies, I don't know. I guess that's super popular, other things. So just best advice, drop by themagicforless.com. Check out all the specials on the page. While you're there, fill out the free no obligation quote form with your possible dates. An agent will get back to you right away. We'll start, it's kind of like Play-Doh. You start with the quote and you got to get some, you get a little bit of a shape of a vacation. You say, oh, we'll change the dates here. Let's look at maybe a different resort, maybe, upgrade that dining so we don't just have quick service. We can do some table service meals. And then it starts all of a sudden, it's like the flowers they're putting on your food in the charcuterie plate. Look at that, Ricky. Look how I did that. Look at that. I even used a big word.
See what he did there?
I did that. Look at that, man. They're getting Pam's money's worth on this ad read. So there you go. So, start with
you owe me a couple. Some of them were so far.
I know this one's not great either. So, just bottom line, drop by the Magic for Less quote form. We'll put together a great package for you, but we'll tweak it till we get it right, and we'll get you the best price possible as well. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Again, when you go to buy that amazing product that Pam talked about earlier, what's it called again, Pam?
The Rocket Book.
Rocket Book. It sounds cool. That just sounds like something out of like 2150 or something. But anyway, yeah, anytime you shop on Amazon, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. We appreciate that so much. And again, follow us on social media. Ricky is going to be down there covering lots and lots of stuff this weekend at beourguestpod and at facebook.com/beourguestpodcast. Of course, she's at Ricky Nibs as well. And I'm, of course, always at beourguestmike. So if you want to see my nonsense, follow along there as well. All right. So until we get together again on Monday, we appreciate you taking the time to listen to the show. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. So for Todd, Ricky, and Pam, I'm Mike, wishing you an awesome weekend. Stay safe, whatever you do. And we'll see you real soon. Good stuff. I know I'm so
I know. Now I'm so hungry. We haven't eaten yet.
I ordered an air fryer through Amazon yesterday, and I can't wait for it to come.
I have one, and I like it.
Do you? That's what I've heard.
We haven't done that much in it, but there's a few things that you can do that are good. So
I'm going to do vegetables in it.
That's what we've done: zucchini and potatoes every now and then. Yeah.
I wonder if it would make good sweet potato fries. No, I was gonna say sweet potato fries.
It does actually. It's decent. I mean, they're not fries. We'll wedge them up or cube them, and they're good.
Right. So. Oh.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
You guys, I'm so hungry.
All right, go get dinner.
You know where I'm heading.
Yeah,
I'm heading to. Yep. All right, guys. Thanks so much. I'll see you guys later.
All right. We'll see y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you, boss.